Hi, my name is Haley Jaggers. I'm a registered polysomnographic technician, and I am doing my health campaign project on the sleepy situation. The health topic I've selected is sleep quality, and the behavior I've selected is sleep hygiene, habits, and my objective was I would like to understand more about people's sleep hygiene in order to develop a health communication campaign to prevent poor sleep habits and improve quality of sleep in young college students, approximately between the ages of 18 and 25 years. I have chosen this health concern and behavior because I am a registered sleep technician and a certified clinical sleep educator. I believe it would be very helpful and beneficial to me to focus on this and maybe be able to apply it to what I do in my career someday. I also have a special place in my heart for this health concern because I am and have been a college student for many years. I have also personally experienced the effects of poor sleep habits and the importance of good sleep habits to be successful. So, to get started, I will examine the background of this problem and explain why it is a public health and safety issue needing attention. Second, I will talk about my target audience and why I feel this is a good audience to focus on. Third, I will discuss the communication channels and plans for the process and outcome evaluations that would be used for the development of the campaign. And finally, I will reflect on what I have learned about communication and health campaigns and how all of this will help me in my future. It has been drilled into our minds that eating right and exercising regularly will keep us healthy. But research and new health campaigns are saying that a good night's sleep should be added to that list. According to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, the Sleep Well, Be Well campaign, and the University of Chicago, sleep is important for a healthy, happy life. The AASM published a newsletter that stated, sleeping less than 7 hours per night also increases your risk for obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and depression. These are just to name a few. If you have a sleep disorder, then you may be getting enough sleep, but your sleep efficiency is poor and may cause high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, heart attack, organ failure, memory loss, or even a stroke. If you think you may have a sleep disorder, getting tested in a sleep disorder center would be your best option. The focus of this project is sleep hygiene and the poor habits of not allowing yourself to get into the proper sleep routine to achieve and obtain the best quality of sleep your body needs to be healthy. According to a recent study by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, an estimated 16.5% of all fatal motor vehicle crashes in the United States from 1999 to 2008 involved a fatigued driver. But adults are not the only ones affected by being sleepy. The University of Chicago said that according to our 2011 ACHA and CHA data, 52% of University of Chicago students reported having problems with sleepiness during the day. Daytime sleepiness can interfere with academics, reduce students' ability to properly function, and is usually a result of inadequate sleep or poor sleep hygiene. While you may be aware that sleep is beneficial to you, you may be unaware of how critical it is. It's critical to learning and memory, immunity, mood, metabolism, weight, judgment, and health. The University of Chicago provides tools and resources for their students to evaluate their sleep quality and proper sleep hygiene practices. According to the MSN's Healthy Living article titled, New Campaign Seeks to Help Sleep-Deprived Americans, the importance of sleep is the central message of the Sleep Well, Be Well campaign. The campaign is a part of the National Healthy Sleep Awareness Project, a partnership between the AASM, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the Sleep Research Society. The campaign is meant to raise awareness about the dangers of chronic lack of sleep and untreated sleep illness. Dr. Bader, president of the AASM, said sufficient sleep is one of the 3 pillars of a healthy lifestyle, as important as good nutrition and regular exercise. There's no avoiding it or catching up. You must sleep well to be well. And again, she says, the urgency of our message cannot be overstated. Sleep is a necessity, not a luxury, and the pursuit of a healthy sleep should be one of our top priorities. The CDC experts warn that sleep problems increase the risk of physical and mental health problems, as well as accidents, injuries, disability, and death. If these pleas don't send a call to action, I don't know what will. Let's now take a look at some good sleep hygiene habits. According to the Mental Health Foundation 2011 Sleep Report, we all need different amounts of sleep. A mechanism called the circadian timer regulates the pattern of our sleep and waking and interacts with the sleep homeostat. Most living things have an internal circadian rhythm, meaning they are adapted to live in a cycle of day and night. This can be affected and cause severe sleep issues for shift workers or, in this case of the campaign, college students that choose to constantly change their wake and sleep times. Depending on the individual adult, they may need anywhere from 5 to 11 hours of sleep per night. The key is to feel rested and refreshed after sleep. The sleep report by the Mental Health Foundation states that caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine are all substances which can impair sleep quality. Caffeine makes it harder to sleep because it stimulates the central nervous system, increasing your heart rate and adrenaline production, and also suppressing melatonin production. It takes a long time for the body to break down caffeine, so drinking coffee during the day can affect sleep at night. Alcohol can help people fall asleep, but it also impairs sleep quality during the second half of the night. It also can be a diuretic, which means that we may need to wake up and use the bathroom during the night, which also disrupts the sleep pattern. However, a rapid reduction in alcohol intake for someone who normally is a heavy drinker can lead to alcohol withdrawal syndrome, which itself can lead to insomnia. Alcohol can also contribute to depressive moods, which in turn can contribute to more insomnia. Nicotine may impair sleep, and smokers take longer to enter sleep and have less total sleep time, approximately 14 minutes less per night, compared to those who have never smoked. Reducing nicotine intake is unlikely to lead to immediate improvements in sleep, but the long-term health benefits are likely to have implication for sleep quality. Just like all that were just explained in the sleep report, eating habits will affect sleep quality as well. Learn how what you're eating affects your sleep, and it may open your eyes to why you may be sleeping poorly and feel tired more often throughout the day. Practicing good sleep habits such as avoiding caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine, as well as eating right, will help you improve your sleep quality if you do not have an underlying sleep disorder. Also, reducing the amount of light stimulation from TV, cell phone, or video games will help improve your circadian rhythm. Avoid making sleep an emotional process where your thoughts create consequences of guilt for not sleeping properly. Many college students are smart enough to know that pulling all-nighters and going days without sleep, drinking a bunch of caffeinated beverages to stay awake to study, sitting in front of the computer for hours right before bedtime, and then studying in your bed are all poor sleep habits. The problem is that most of them, even knowing the habit is a bad one, continue to do it because that is the lifestyle of a college student. Other things such as parties, homework, and a job to pay for school are all more important than getting the recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep for most adults. The amount of sleep needed may vary by individual. Finding out what college students know about sleep habits, what types of obstacles come between them and good sleep habits, and how they gather and use information about the topic is key to developing an effective health campaign. College students between the ages of 18 to 25 is our target audience for this health campaign. We want to target students that live the typical college lifestyle of sleep deprivation from studying, parties, and lots of caffeine, and other stimulants that are more popular these days, such as Adderall. After conducting several interviews, what students know about sleep is generally the same, with a few students going into more detail about their own sleep. Stacy Verving, a recent college student, answered that adopting healthy sleep habits is difficult because there seems to always be so much to do and so little time to do it all. During an interview with Taryn Cooper, a current graduate student, she stressed that her work schedule and study habits keep her from sleeping right, as well as stress and anxiety. Clearly, college students have a lot on their plate as far as demands, deadlines, and a social life. But, as does life after college, and promoting good sleep habits at this level might be beneficial in setting them up for success after graduating and entering the workforce with healthier sleep habits. Reaching students at earlier stages might prevent the need for an immense amount of sleep education later on. Victor Navarro, a recent pharmacy graduate from Butler University, suggested that if he had an accurate application on his smartphone, that he would take his age, normal sleep routine, and it would make recommendations and reminders to him on how to improve his circadian rhythm and overall sleep quality. He said this might be useful for him. One could see that the audience is being focused on using technology for almost everything, and that having applications to track sleep habits and sleep quality would be a very valid form of education and a great way to get more information and facts to this audience. Using interviews and a small sample audience for studies on how well our campaign strategies might work would show us successes and failures on a smaller scale to make adjustments. Should I pull an all-nighter, or should I just get some sleep? This is a question that high school and college students ask themselves routinely. The answer to them, however, is not that easy. Teenagers who stay up late on school nights and make up for it by sleeping late on the weekends are more likely to perform poorly in the classroom. This is because on weekends, they are waking up at a time that is later than their internal body clock expects. The fact that their clock must get used to a new routine may affect their ability to be awake early for school at the beginning of the week when they revert back to their old routine. This applies to high school and college students as well, with staying up late to study, waking up early for classes, going to parties on the weekend, and sleeping the next day away. This issue needs to be addressed at many levels. First, one will look at the communication channels that would best support this health campaign. Then one will examine the message strategies that will be most appealing to our audience. And lastly, one will conclude with support as to why these channels and strategies will be effective. To look further at what communication channels would work best for the intended audience, one should first identify where the program can reach the intended audience. This audience is predominantly at school or in a classroom for the majority of their days, other than on the weekends. So the obvious choice to reach them would be on school grounds through interpersonal and group channels, such as with professors, counselors, coaches, and peers. Utilizing mass media by having articles in the school paper about getting enough sleep and how it affects their academics, social skills, and overall health would be beneficial. For the ones that don't read the school paper, one student interviewed said having flyers or videos with attention-getting graphics would catch her attention. So having flyers around with attention-getting pictures might provoke someone to stop and read what the flyer has to say. So using forms of interactive digital media as well is a great option. In the school paper and on the flyers, there should be advertisements for school group meetings about sleep quality and habits, with a free meal as well. And then they could tell the students how to go online to find more information about facts and sleep health and habits. Directing students to go to a website to seek more information, such as sleepfoundation.org, or to simply Google sleep for students and see all of the college and university research and articles that are published and reliable resources. This intended audience is also very motivated by social activity and food. So getting together with peers to talk about sleep while eating for free is a strong incentive. Another option is requiring incoming freshmen, this could also be implemented at the high school level, to take a class on sleep hygiene, sleep health, and possible sleep disorders. It might improve their awareness to the importance of a good night's sleep. On a larger scale, using radio, TV commercials, and social media would be a good way to get the intended audience thinking about their own sleep habits and can promote a push through their stages of change. To find what message strategies will work, one must identify which ones won't work. The EPPM, Extended Parallel Process Model, would not be an effective strategy for this audience for many reasons, but the main reason is because they are too difficult to scare. College students don't get scared easily. The intended audience has a sense of immortality and commonly uses the phrase such as YOLO, meaning you only live once, so justifying doing dangerous activities because they are living in the moment. Our intended audience has to be talked to on a more personal level, and to the ones who are wanting to do well, live well, and succeed. Our target audience is not the thrill seekers or the up-all-night partiers. Rogers' protection motivation theory also explains the theory of threat and its effectiveness. In this audience, if rewards such as partying and socialization outweigh the risky behavior of not getting adequate sleep, then maladaptive responses may occur. I think when constructing a message strategy for this audience, one has to look at how much fear and how much happiness one can use before the audience perceives the message as a threat or persuasion. The message has to allow the audience to make the decision to examine their own sleep habits and accept or ignore any issues. The idea of showing a student staying up all night to study, or even partying before an exam, and then receiving a poor score on that exam, evokes guilt or fear, versus showing a student making the choice to go to bed at a time that allows adequate night's sleep, and receiving a good score on the exam will evoke satisfaction, relief, happiness, and will promote the practice of the habit of choosing to go to bed at an appropriate time again. The message strategy not only appeals to the fear or guilt of doing poorly, but, on the other hand, the reward of happiness and satisfaction that one gets from receiving a good score from practicing good sleep habits. So, here the message gives the student choices and outcomes for each choice, which gives the student the explanation of the habit choice, the outcome, and the effects of the choices made. Emotional appeals used correctly for this audience would be the ideal message strategy to use. Process evaluation takes place during the implementation and monitors the functioning of program components. It includes assessment of whether messages are being delivered appropriately, effectively, and efficiently, whether materials are being distributed to the right people and in the right quantities, whether the intended program activities are occurring, and other measures of how well the program is working. I would use this during the beginning and throughout the process of building the campaign during a small model. Outcome evaluation is important because it shows how well the program has met its communication objectives and what might change or improve to make it more effective. I will use this throughout the entire process of launching the campaign to a small audience to make changes when necessary. I will work to maintain a good relationship between organizations and partnerships. Frequent two-way communication is essential to productive partnerships. If partners hear from you only when you need something, or you hear from the partners only if there's a problem that arises, the relationship will suffer. Examples of the use of process evaluation measures are dissemination, response, and audience. I've learned how complex health campaign building is and how they depend a lot on identity, self-efficacy, and your target audience selection. All of these things will help me in the future when developing and evaluating health campaigns. Our professor explained to me that the health belief model is not only used with regard to religious and spiritual health campaigns. The HBM is composed of 6 constructs. These constructs are severity, susceptibility, benefits, barriers, self-efficacy, and cues to action. This type of message strategy might be helpful after all with my campaign, and I will take a further look into that with evaluation strategies. I feel like I understand and can apply communication principles and processes that contribute to effective health campaign messages. I feel that this course has improved my ability to communicate effectively in written and oral forms. I believe that I can critically evaluate messages that influence knowledge and beliefs about health. I understand the impact of diverse beliefs, attitudes, and values on approaches to health communication campaigns, and I demonstrate an awareness of ethical implications for communication in health campaigns. I'm really glad I took this course. It was so nice to meet you all. Thank you for the experience, and good luck to everyone in the future.